Tonight our special guest is Retirement Commissioner Diane Maxwell. Diane heads up the Commission for Financial Capability. With a staff of 26, they are hard at work preparing for the day when the population of over 65s will be double what it is today. Where will all the pensions come from? Diane Maxwell.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
You're the lady looking after all us pensioners. Did you know that? Well, of course you knew that because you've got a great job. You're what's the official title? The Retirement Commissioner?
So I'm the Retirement Commissioner, but I do have to tell you that a big part of my job is also retirees of the future. So retirees of today, which is, our group 65 plus.
Yep.
Although 22% of people past 65 keep working.
22%?
Yeah. And we've done a whole heap of work in the last few months where people tell us that really they don't see themselves as retirees in their 60s. They're going, I'm not old.
Yeah, well, I'm 69.
Yeah, well, exactly. No, that's exactly. That's exactly.
At the
They're
hot
saying,
video stove.
They're saying, I'm not old. Don't write me off. I'm young and vibrant. And so people say actually they see retirement really more as about 68, 72.
Yeah.
For some people, they say, I don't see myself retiring till 75.
Well, look at Diane. We started the show 8 years ago. The beat goes on, and the reason that it started was that I felt that us baby boomers were being marginalised.
Weren't getting a look in.
Yeah,
I get that.
Like say the women felt in the 1970s, they were being, they weren't. And I said that, look, once you're past 50 or 60, you've still got a book to write, you've still got a CD to make, you've still got a mountain to climb, a marathon to run. There's all these things you can do, and yet society,
but
past 50,
I think that's changing.
Yeah.
I do think that's changing.
Well, of course it is.
If
yeah.
you look at
thanks to me.
if you look at movies today,
Yeah.
We can go to the cinema and see actors in their 60s and 70s. There's a whole lot of movies out that have got great storylines around older people, whereas 10 years ago they wouldn't have made those movies.
Yeah.
But now there's a plethora of stuff you can go and see where the main characters are 69.
Yeah, there's been great movies out. I can't think of the one with Jack Nicklaus, but I'll think of it during the interview. But you've got some. Which ones are you talking about?
Yeah, there's the one with the intern,
Yeah.
which is from memory Robert De Niro and a younger actress, and basically he retires, and then he decides he's bored being retired. He's got nothing to do. He's doing yoga in the park, and he wants to do something else. So he goes back into work as an intern, and he teaches a lot of the young folk in the office some things about how to dress, some basic etiquette, dating, some career advice, and he becomes this phenomenal person in the office that everybody goes to. Yeah. And when he first starts, they're like, "Who's this old guy?"
Who's this old?
And then within about a month, they're all relying on him to sort them out and tell them what to do, and he's straightening them up. And
Okay, Benjamin, I'm gonna ask you one of our more telling questions for all of our interns, so I want you to this is the one to really think about, okay? Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
When I'm 80.
And I love myself. The world is a ghetto, big guns.
Remember a few weeks ago we talked about the senior intern program?
Seniors in high school or college?
No. Seniors in life.
Hold on. What?
That's our founder and CEO, Jules Austin.
Any tips before I go in?
Blink.
Blink.
She hates when people don't blink. It weirds her out.
Hi, Jules. I'm Ben, your new intern.
I'm glad you also see the humor in this.
Be hard not to.
I will email you when I have something for you to do.
I'll wait to hear from you, sir. I'm terribly sorry. Excuse me.
So you're Jules' new driver?
No, actually, I'm her intern.
That's hysterical.
My intern sure keeps busy.
Mr. Congeniality. Everybody loves him.
You should dress to impress. Tuck in the shirt. Why doesn't anybody tuck anything in anymore? Oh, I'm asking you.
I'm Fiona, the house masseuse. How's that been?
Well, oh boy.
Here you go. You're not as old as I thought you were.
That's on my list. I'd love to see that.
it's interesting.
So is that you should, at the retirement or at the Commission for Financial Capability? That's you'll probably have a screen in the foyer that should be playing on the monitor.
Yeah,
should
probably
it?
should. It probably should. But I got to tell you, and I know some of your viewers might not love this, but a lot of our work ends up with being with people younger than retirement because
you're looking at the future, aren't you?
Because we're looking at the future too. We're looking at today as well.
Yeah.
But if we think about our children and if we've got grandchildren, our grandchildren, I'm quite worried about them. We've got an ageing population, so by the time they're our age and older, 1 in 4 New Zealanders will be 65 plus.
That's a lot, isn't it?
So things will be a little bit different
Will
for
there
them.
be enough money in the pot?
Well, I've got to be honest, not for what we do now, no. And that might make someone choke on their Bordeaux, on their Pinot Noir.
Whoops.
But, you know, at the moment, super costs around 12.6 billion gross a year. And in about 25 years, it's going to cost about 40 billion net.
40 billion?
And that's net.
Wow.
So that's not, as it stands,
And
it's not
Diane,
workable.
you've been hired to solve it.
Well, I've been hired for it, yeah. I don't know if I'm going to solve it. I have this theory that if people think they've got the answer, then they haven't understood the question, you know, because I don't think it's solvable.
Yeah.
But we're working really hard on helping people prepare.
So your job is to come up with the ideas, present it to the politicians.
Yeah,
and they,
that's right.
They sit around and
That's
drink
right.
their martinis and
I don't know,
Chardonnays.
But we road test it with people. So we've been up and down New Zealand doing a whole lot of stuff to check what people think about the stuff that we're doing.
How happy is the average 65 plus?
You know what worries me? There's a real difference. You've got a group of 65 plus who are fit and healthy, you know, like yourself, who are working, who are doing great things. No, but, you know, got a zest for life, you know, about ready to sit at home and, you know, knit. Although I mustn't say that because apparently knitting's really good.
Yeah.
And then actually you've got a group, and often health is the definer, you know, and health prevents them from working. They perhaps are renting, they're anxious about the situation. And so you do have two quite different groups there, and they're facing really quite different futures actually. And we just did a big survey last week on this one, and we got a number of comments from people saying, I'm quite frightened about the way it's looking.
Now, Sir Robert Jones is a regular on our program.
Is he?
And talked to Bob about it, and he said that, you know, I just jokingly said to Sir Robert one day, have you taken the pension yet, Sir Robert? He's, what are you talking about? You know, I mean, he's worth millions and millions of dollars. But what he did say, it did annoy him, he said, he's got many, many wealthy friends.
Yeah.
Who collect the pension, and he is disgusted at that practice.
No, because it's not means tested.
Yeah.
I think sometimes what happens is people have an accountant looking after their affairs, and they don't even know whether they're collecting it or not. And because the accountant's job is to maximise income, they'll go for whatever's on offer. But I mean, people can say, by the way, I don't need my, you know.
So leading on to the question. Is it a fair system when people with $600 million in the bank account can collect $300 a week?
If you brought in means testing, the problem is, if you look at Australia, they got means testing, and it's a bit of a mess. But if you brought in means testing, where would you set the threshold?
Yes, exactly. Well, probably 500 million in the bank. That would be the.
And that would scoop up 5 people, you know, and so you'd save yourself. A few thousand a year, you know, it wouldn't be much. But it's a really important question. Where do you set the bar?
Yes, exactly.
So you might have someone who's worked really hard. They might not have earned a whole lot, but they might have worked really hard, lived quite a modest life, been really careful with their money. They get to retirement, they've got a home, they've got some stuff, and then the government steps in and says, you know what, you know how careful you were. You don't get the super now because you did a good job. Way to go, you know, and there's something not quite right about that.
So your job today basically is thinking about retirement in the future for possibly 35 to 50-year-olds at the moment, because that's the work you're doing, because somebody in the past has already worked out what us 65s were going to be getting sometime in the past. That's the way
pretty much.
That's the way the commission works.
I wouldn't fiddle around with the settings today, but I will make recommendations for how they might be in the longer term. For our young people.
Now, what about Diane Maxwell? Where did Diane Maxwell enter this wonderful country called New Zealand? At what year? Is a lady allowed to give away this information?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm 49. I'm happy to say that. Don't have a problem with age.
Oh, the big 50 coming up.
I've got 50 next year. Woo! But I grew up in London, so I.
Are you a New Zealander?
I'm a New Zealander, but I spent most of my life in London until I was 30.
Gosh, your mum and dad were over there working or something?
Yeah, they took us over as kids.
Oh, okay.
And then I came back in my early 30s and stayed.
They'd always talked about New Zealand, and then you saw it for the first time, or you'd been back and forth?
I had come back when I was 19 and had a look, and then I came back and...
what did you think?
Yeah, I found it hard actually. You know, it took me a couple of years to get used to it. No, because I'd grown up in London and I was used to some things.
Yeah.
And now I've raised my children here, and
so you decided to stay in New Zealand. Why?
It's a very good question. I actually can't remember.
You met a New Zealand man, got married.
I have met a New Zealand man.
And had 2 wonderful children.
Had 2 wonderful children.
And then decided to stay on.
I kind of decided to stay before I did that, but that probably helped. Yeah, so it's a wonderful place to raise children. You know, I think of my brother and sister in London raising their kids over there, you know. They can't, I mean, my kids walk to school and they can't do that stuff, you know. And now with global terrorism, it's a whole new ballgame. So,
the job, do you enjoy it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a perfect job for me.
What does it mean to be a commissioner?
So I was at the regulator before this, at the Financial Markets Authority, and before that I was a banker, and before that I was a consumer strategist, so I thought about consumer trends.
Yeah. What attracted you to this job?
So if you bring all that together, it means I know what I'm talking about, I know how to say it, and I know how to think long term about it. And so for me, it brought together all those pieces: the finance, the trends, the regulation. And the kind of understanding of how people communicate, you know. So you put all that together, and for me, it's a phenomenal opportunity
and
to do some
writing
stuff.
those long reports that you hope the politicians will read.
Yeah, but you see, we don't give them long reports anymore because well, why? Why
Yes,
would
exactly.
you? You know,
they've only got so much concentration.
No, I know. I hate long reports. So no, we don't. In fact, we've got a piece of work coming up that's going to be quite exciting. So, I can't say too much about, but it's not going to be a report.
What's the most request? You know, where people finally get through to you and talk to you on the phone, Diane. What's the biggest concern for people concerned about their retirement?
Look, there's so many. There's so many. One of the big things we're dealing with at the moment is people saying they want to work, but they can't get a job, and they think it's because of ageism.
Oh, okay.
So we're doing quite a bit around that, where we're saying, you know, if someone's fit and active, they've got skills they want to use, they've got things they want to give, you know. They're saying, here I am, they want to get up every morning, go into a workplace, engage, be social, earn money, pay taxes.
So people are noticing there is ageism.
Yeah, we're getting quite a lot of that, saying, I've applied for jobs, I'm fully qualified, but I'm losing out. So why am I losing out? Is it my age? And we're working with workplaces and the government on how to drive some leadership and change in that area, so that people can, if you want to work and you've got skills and you want to, you know, be in that position, you can. And that's really important, you know. And people keep saying, don't write me off. I'm only 60-something, heapers jeepers, don't write me off. I'm not old. What the hell? You know, but we've got this sort of historical view of being old, haven't we? Like a 65-year-old's not old.
Well, look, let's be fair about it. You know, I sometimes think to myself, you know, I'm the boss here in the sense that, and I think, gosh, if I had to get a job today, could I get one?
No, I know, and that's what people say, because they don't even get a chance to get through the door.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and that's why The Intern was this interesting film. Yeah. Because it was this guy going back into work and just showing people some basic work ethic, you know. Older workers have got an extraordinary amount to add to the workplace.
So how big is the commission? What type of...
We've only got 26 people. We're 26 a tiny little place. Yeah. Just down at Britomart, up the road here. And I've got people that do our marketing and comms. I've got people that do our investor education, people that do our websites, Sorted, and our CFF.
Oh, no, I didn't know that. You Sorted?
Yeah, we do Sorted.
Yeah.
Yep. And then our other website is cffc.org.nz. Got a whole lot of information on there for New Zealanders of all ages.
Now, we used to see tons of advertising about Sorted. It's not so much now, is it?
No, but you know what?
Years ago,
I know there was, but we were spending millions of dollars of taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
And when I analysed it, it's great, but we weren't driving traffic. People already knew about Sorted, and we were spending a few million telling them about Sorted, but they already knew about it.
Yep.
And so arguably we reached a point where everyone knew about it. We kept spending the money. Yeah. So we took the money away and we used the money differently, and we're still getting people to the website. In fact, we're getting more.
Wonderful.
So it's just about using that money really efficiently. I wasn't sure that in the end it was as efficient
Well,
as
it
it
just
could
shows
be.
you how efficient it was, because I mean, I remember it very clearly, the sorted campaign. So I mean, it was money well spent in that sense. I know about it.
Yeah, no, it did a really good
And
job
I
at the
also
time.
noticed that it's gone now. So
Yeah, it did a really good job at the time. But you see, we did a Nigel Latta documentary a few weeks back, and we can track the traffic on the website. And during the documentary, our traffic hit a massive spike between 9 and 10 p.m. Wow. And I've been doing media this week, so I'll do, TVNZ or something, and then we'll see a massive spike in sorted. So we know what drives the people to the site, and often it's more editorial than advertising,
Yes,
you know?
okay. Right.
Yeah.
Well, we've run out of time.
Yep.
We've run out of sorted. But you've sorted us all out today.
We're trying.
Diane,
We're trying.
Look, thanks for coming in.
That's great.
And,
Good to meet you.
We need to keep in contact with people like yourself, because you
Good.
are your people's future. So, and thanks for coming on a
Great.
baby boomer program.
That's
and,
all right.
Don't
It's
forget us
good.
baby boomers.
I won't.
Yeah. Now, just before you go, I want you to make the big announcement that the pension is doubling this week.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I was hoping you might have been able to say that, Diane, but
I'm sorry. All right.
see you
Okay.
soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.